Alright, back with another movie trailer reaction. I was not expecting this, so here's what happened. I know that before the Mario movie comes out, there were going to be a lot of new trailers, like the Spider-Verse trailer, the Barbie trailer, and they all came out. But here's the thing, and those of you in the Discord saw my live reaction to my panic when I found out. I didn't know the Mario movie came out tomorrow. I thought it came out the 27th. I swear to God it was gonna come out the 27th. Hang on a second. Why did I think it was April 27th? Japan on April 27th? Okay, maybe that's why. But I remember seeing one of the teasers and it said April 27th. Doesn't matter. So I thought we had a lot more time before then. So I am so out of breath right now. I'm preparing a lot of stuff for the Mario review, for the review of this trailer. It's all happening. The next mainline video is almost done. I'm editing it right now. A lot of activity on the channel in the next few days. But anyway, let's just get into it. So this trailer is for the next Spider-Verse movie. And I've actually been meaning to make a video about this for a while. But this movie had me worried. I know. A lot of Lord and Miller films have great first installments, but when they try to do a sequel, it ends up feeling messy. Like they had a lot of really ambitious ideas, but they just couldn't execute it. Lego Movie 2, ring any bells? That was just not fun. And with the trailer, and with the first teaser for the Spider-Verse movie, I was obviously hyped. With the first trailer, that trailer wasn't, the pacing didn't really fit with what we were seeing, in my opinion. It was too segmented, so it had me a little worried. But with this trailer, brought me back around, baby. This trailer is awesome. I'm not a Spider-Man aficionado, not even a big Marvel fan. But I do recognize that they're throwing in a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of freeze frame moments, but it looks like this trailer in this movie, it looks like this movie is going to be more than that. You know what I mean? This isn't a cameo fest. I appreciate how they're showing us a little bit of the emotional struggle that Miles is going to go through in this movie. The trailer starts off with him fighting with his parents, and that's pretty much par for the course in this kind of film. I mean, there's got to be some family drama or a love interest, and I appreciate how they're kind of showing it to us, but they're not telling us what it's going to be. You want to know why I'm excited for this movie and not Elemental? Because they don't freaking reveal the entire emotional core in the trailer, so you don't know where and how the character is going to grow over the course of the film. That's something you don't put in your trailer. And Spider-Verse is self-aware enough not to do it, and I appreciate that. In general, this trailer had a lot more to show us. It gave us our first look at the main villain of this and the next movie, which is the Spot. Love his design. His animation and his action scenes are going to be really, really fun, I can tell. Speaking of the Spot, they're really keeping a lot of him under wraps. We only get to see him in a brief sort of intro part of this trailer, and I believe he flashes like a Spot pattern at one other point. But they're saying that he's going to be the big villain of this movie and the next one. And that's surprising because of who he is, and who he seems to be, but also because they're not showing us a lot of him. There must be something else, something bigger that he's involved in. I don't know if he's just not a very big part of this story, if he's going to be in this one a little bit, and then maybe there's like an end credits scene where he gets what he wants and becomes powerful, like an Infinity War Endgame situation. That might be what happens. He might be a jokey villain in this movie, and then actually win in the end, and then he's going to come back into the next movie completely all-powerful. But maybe not. Maybe this is all a big red herring. So I'm a little embarrassed to say I did not catch the mention of Doctor Strange and Tom Holland's Spider-Man on my first or second watch. I watched 3C Films breakdown of the trailer, which I always do. Love that guy. And the whole Spider-Man 199-9999, I didn't know that was the universe that the MCU was. You know what? Sure. Whatever. That's too smart for me. So I did not catch it the first time. But it is cool that they're kind of tying it into the rest of Sony's Spider-Man universe. Which, I mean, come on. Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland, Sam Raimi, one of them is going to show up at least in a background non-speaking cameo in this movie, right? It basically has to happen. I don't remember which version of the trailer I saw first, but it's a version of the trailer that starts with a compilation of with the Tobey Maguire, the Andrew Garfield, and the Tom Holland Spider-Man as like a sort of prelude montage into the actual trailer. So part of me thinks that they're going to put at least one of them in the background. If I were to put money on it, they're going to do a little flash through the universes and show a fragment of actual live-action Tom Holland Spider-Man. That's my guess. So one thing I saw in this trailer is, why is Peter B bringing Mayday along? It just seems really out of character for him, I guess. Because, the whole thing in the first movie about Aunt May wanted to have kids and it scared him, and that's why they broke up. And he's really careful around kids, and he cares about Miles, almost seeing him in the end of the film like as his kid. So why is he bringing Mayday along on this supposedly really dangerous mission? I don't know. Just to have Mayday in there? I mean, that's the boring answer. I feel like Mayday has some kind of significance. With her being a second-generation Spider-Woman, and also with Spider-Man 2099 looking at this picture of his kid, or who I assume to be his kid, there's some kind of connection there. And I think Mayday is going to be important to the ending of this film. This movie will supposedly be a romance between Miles and Gwen. They're not showing that in the trailer either. I said this trailer showed us a lot. But in terms of the main storylines and what people have told us this movie is going to have in it, we haven't seen a whole lot. And that's kind of surprising to me. Yes, we saw that in the teaser a little bit, but nothing too overt, which is interesting to me. And now the humor. The joke at the end of this trailer, it got me. The one where Spider-Man's doing therapy.
And then I looked at my uncle and...
let me guess. He died?
That is actually clever. I'm tired of the meta humor that we're getting in everything nowadays. It started with Rick and Morty, then it just spread to everything else like a disease. And it can be fun when it's done in a subtle, occasional way. But it seems like this movie's not going to go that direction. This movie seems legitimately funny. Not meta humor funny, just funny. And while this technically is meta humor because of Uncle Ben and dying, and every Spider-Man does that, it just seems like in better taste, you know what I mean? So basically, those were my very jumbled thoughts on the Spider-Man trailer. I didn't do a play-by-play through the trailer as much as I did with Elemental, because, let's be real, you've already watched the trailer. You're aware of it. You've probably seen it several times because it's so awesome. I don't need to recap it for you. I just hopped on here to tell you some of my thoughts, questions that came up after I watched it a few dozen times. And as always, I want to hear your thoughts. Who do you think is going to die? Because this is a Spider-Man movie, somebody has to die. And does it look like this movie is shaping up to be a really good time to you? Or are you still on the fence, like I was a few months ago? Let me know what you think, and put it in the comments below the video. Alright, goodbye.